friends, good morning. It is day 412, and here we are, about ready to get started. Just need to tape up, and we will be good to go. Tape up because we're going to do some cleans as well as other things with the kettlebell this morning. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you appreciate Alfred there in the corner saving the screen from being too boring as I get ready, because I turned on the stream a bit too quick this morning without finishing all my prep. Happens sometimes. No big deal this Sunday morning or Saturday night, depending on where you're dialing in from. Maybe you want to let me know in the chat where you're dialing in from, if you're dialing in. And maybe you have some fitness goals or some life goals you want to chat about with me as I prepare for my Sunday morning run. Just go ahead and ask me your question. I'd be happy to chat with you about health and fitness at 40 or at 30 or at 20 or in our teens or beyond or anything else, because that's what we're here for. My name is Toby. I am 40 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, showing up for strength training, conditioning training, and mobility training throughout the week. And this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I want to feel fit, competent, and capable for life. I want to be able to handle the things that life's going to throw at me. I want to be able to show up and do the work. I want to be able to keep up with my kids. I want to be able to keep up with my career. I want to be able to keep up with my friends. I want to be able to go out on adventures, not only today, but 10, 20, 30 years into the future. And I want to remain self-sufficient for as long as I can in life. So everything that I'm doing is an investment in my future. And I think if you have the opportunity and the space, then it's important for you to invest in your health and fitness, not only today, but for the future. Today we're going to do some mobility, we're going to do some strength training, and then I'm going to go out for a run. I think that's a nice combination on Sunday morning. I also think it's a bit too early to be out running, but around 6:30, so in an hour. It's going to be fine. I'm based in Amsterdam, by the way, for those of you who are watching, so that's why it is 5:30 a.m. And not 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., depending on where you are. Like I always say, we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. There are enough people out there who want to put us down, so we don't need to let them do that. We just lift ourselves up. Because it's the person we are today who's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. And a bit of kindness to ourselves is going to go a long way in us accomplishing and living up to our goals. That being said, the only way to get anything done, friends, is by showing up and doing the work. So while we reflect on the week and do some mobility, we're going to get started. Because it is Sunday morning, and there is one goal above all that I want to stick to every day, and that is to show up for 30 minutes and to do some work. And it doesn't really matter what I do, although I think I've found a pretty good balance between mobility recovery and training. But the point is that what we want to do is show up every day for 30 minutes and get something done. Because that something is going to accumulate and compound over time. It's always a bit hard to breathe during that particular exercise, or to talk during that exercise. So, all these little sessions are going to compound over the course of a year, hopefully a lifetime, into good health and fitness. And that's one of the things that we're slowly but surely working towards. See, I'm 40, so I have more than half my life ahead of me. If you're 20, you might have 80 years ahead of you at this point. If you're 30, 70 years, I might have a good 60 years before me. And I know that sounds weird, but with societal advances, medical advances, you are likely to end up living a long life. And if you're interested in that, and I appreciate the support there, thanks. If you're interested in that, then you might also want to consider that those final years, right? How do you want to spend them? Everybody has a lost decade. I think that's an insight we need to be aware of. I think you have some measure of control over how you're going to end up spending that last decade. Are you going to spend it going to and from the hospital on a lot of medication? Or are you going to spend it outside in the garden chasing your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, or with friends having a blast? And I think the question for us to ask ourselves is, well, what we want to make out of that final decade, because we're going to have it, and we're going to be relatively old when we get there. And I'll make a little prediction. The things you're doing today are the things you're going to be doing when you're 80. So in other words, the types of food you'll eat, the types of drinks you'll drink, the types of TV you're watching, the types of browsing and scrolling you're doing, those are the things that as you get older, you're going to keep doing. And you're going to keep doing them because they are your habits and your patterns. The bad news is, maybe you're thinking about it now and saying, well, if I'm going to be doing these things when I'm 80 or 90, I'm not going to be very fit and healthy. In fact, I'm going to be stuck to my couch most of the days at the end of my life, barely able to get up and move. The good news is, if that's what you're thinking, you maybe still have 60, 50, 40, 30, or 20 years to make a change. And the nice thing about this body and this life that we've gotten is that biologically and physically, you can go out and you can start to strain and challenge it within its capacity, and it is going to change and get stronger and stronger. So the choice really, if you think about it, is yours about how you're going to go through life and what you're going to do in life. Diabolic Native, hey Toby, have a nice workout. Yeah? Having a good workout, thanks for asking. And the day was alright. We are looking forward to the day ahead and what's going to happen. What about you? You ending up today, probably if you're in the US, or if you're over in Europe and on the continent, then your day's already started. But I appreciate you dropping by and saying hello and good morning. So we were discussing, you have some agency over what is going on, what you can do to prepare yourself for that future and that life that you're going to live. And I think the simplest investment we can make is to spend 20 to 30 minutes of our day doing something that will help us stay fit and healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's a lot of good stuff that happens when we work out. So we're going on a huge tangent here as we're reflecting on the week. Like I said, my big why I'm doing this, there are a couple of reasons, right, that get me out of bed at 5 in the morning every day to invest in my health and fitness. So I'm here because I have 2 kids and I want to be a good father and set a good example and be a role model, but also to be able to keep up with them when we go out into nature, when we go out for walks or hikes, when we are playing. I like to wrestle, martial arts, to be able to be physically involved in their life and their activities and not be on the sideline of it, The same goes, by the way, for my relationship with my wife and my friends, to be able to go out and do things together and to not be held back or limited or impeded by our physical ability. And the second reason is we have a we have a busy career and social life and life with kids in general, right, is quite demanding. And I found that being fit and healthy, capable, actually helps with dealing with the demands and the stresses of the day, whether those are physical or mental or emotional. We just literally have a long way to go. We just have a lot on our plate. So that's another reason to do it. And the third reason we just talked about is that I understand that barring any tragedies, I will grow old, and with that age comes health and fitness challenges. But a large number of those challenges that the elderly today face are lifestyle-related diseases and discomforts. And those lifestyle-related diseases and discomforts, if you want to prevent them, having a good routine, activities physically are a part of the equation to prevent them. That's why I always talk about sleep, nutrition, and movement, because they're basically free. You can do them in the privacy of your own home. And if you are mindful of them, you can stay ahead of maybe 85% of the problems that come your way as you age. And then for the other 15%, probably need to develop good care and specific protocols or treatments to help you and me keep making the most out of life. But that's just one way to look at it. I mean, I'm assuming you're watching because you care about your general health and fitness, especially as you're in your 40s. But you might also have no interest in this at all. You just want to be living your life, making the best of it. And to be very honest, if that makes you happy, you're not bothering anyone else, and leaving the world a slightly better place than when you found it. I don't see any reason why you should feel obliged to want to invest or work on or do anything like this. But if you are interested in fitness and health and living to the full extent of your lifespan, well, this channel might be a bit of a start, and the starting point for you, working on those shoulders, by the way, here. So, you just keep that in mind when you decide to subscribe or not to my channel this morning. In any case, look, life is what it is, right? If I look back on this week, I hit my goal to show up for 30 minutes every day, do some work. Sunday I have a bit more time, so I like to do a bit of a workout and then go for a short run, 30 to 45 minutes, just to get that baseline, steady state cardio in as we do HIIT throughout the week, 10 minutes 3 times a week with the kettlebell. We work for 40 seconds with the swings, take about 20 seconds of break, 10 times getting to those 200 swings. And working towards heavier weights in March, building that conditioning to make that work. All right. So it is just nice to see, after having struggled through December and January, that we are slowly, surely back on track, and also making the most out of the 30 minutes that I have every day for my training towards my goals. And I can tell you this helps and works because one of the things that I am able to do is I am able to go up 10 flights of stairs at work. All right. So we have a coffee bar on the 13th floor, and I then walk up to the 21st floor after having coffee 2 or 3 times a day. And I'm fine with that. That works for me. It doesn't knock me out. I will admit that the last 3 flights of stairs are a challenge, but in a very general sense, there is no issue with going out and up the stairs and walking up, and it's a good exercise and a good break in the day of sitting, because I'm a desk jockey. I have a desk job. So I think it's important to note that in those kinds of respects, I can see the payoff of all the hard work that we put in. Here every day. And I think regardless of where you start, you can go back to my videos from a year ago or more, and you'll see that I've been at this for a while. See, come April will mark 2 years of me seriously investing regularly in my health and fitness journey, and marks the start of a new journey, actually. And I think you'll see that things have evolved and adapted over time, and in a good way. And I've tried many different things, and we're going to keep trying new and different things. We figure out how to stay fitter and healthier in life. But the foundations are always going to be those big three: sleep well, exercise regularly, and eat well. And I think, for the most part, those three things are not as common in our day-to-day lives as we should make them to be. We sacrifice our sleep to be able to watch, stay abreast of television shows and entertainment, or because we're stressed because of our life circumstances. Those are two completely different experiences in life, by the way. We aren't eating well because we maybe don't have access to good foods. We don't have access to healthy foods for whatever reason in this society, which is strange, but understandable that if you don't have access to them, or you don't have the skill to actually prepare or tell the difference between what's healthy and what isn't healthy and wholesome and good for you in the long run, you're simply not going to be able to make choices that will have beneficial impact on your health in the long run. So just think about that. As you reflect on the week and where some of the challenges might lie. And we don't pay movement enough attention, even though we were made to move, not to sit around, not to stare at screens behind our desks or standing in line. Our heads were made to swivel left and right. The first mobility exercise we do, more or less, is to take that neck and to use it, because boy, oh boy, right? If you are part of this modern society, those neck muscles are weak, underused, and used in the long way, with your head hanging down, staring at your feet, basically, into the screen that has become ubiquitous in life, and the jury's still out on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. So, hey, if you're watching, my name is Toby, I'm 40 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, try to get between 7 and 9 hours in a day, minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance. I try to eat healthy, wholesome foods. I try to eat 120 to 150 grams of protein in a day, 90% of the time. And 90% of the time I succeed. And I show up for some strength and conditioning training and mobility training, as you can see, every day here on a stream. So that's something you're interested in. If you see my videos pop up in your stream, in your feed, or on your channel, you go ahead and subscribe or check out some other videos, hit like, and then subscribe if what I'm saying and what I'm doing is of interest to you. Because we're here for the long run. We're here to get fit and healthy. And over the course of the next 20 or 30 years, maybe 40, maybe 50, well, maybe even 60, to be as fit and healthy and as capable as we can possibly be. All right? So that's why I'm here. You let me know in the chat why you're here, what you're up to. It's Saturday night. Probably many things that you could be doing, but you're choosing to spend some time with me on stream. You go ahead into the chat, say hi, let me know how you're doing. It's 6:06 a.m., so mobility is almost done. After mobility, we're going to just do a couple of deadlifts, halos, squats, to prepare for, and then prepare for a run that we're going to take. We're going to be out and about in 3 degrees. It's going to be nice, fresh, and cold. A good morning for a nice run. And it's that mix, right? It's that mix of mobility, of strength, of conditioning, doing a HIIT, going for 45-minute extended run that challenges the body, the cardiovascular system in different ways, and therefore makes for an all-round investment in general health and fitness. So there you have it. All right. So what else happened this week? Well, we have health, so physical health, mental health, emotional health, all the check-ins I can do. It's fine. Remember I said I was struggling a bit midway through December, through midway January, mentally, maybe emotionally, gray, gloomy, dark weather. That seems to have passed. And I'm glad it has. And there's like this slight, should we put it? There's a slight cloud overhead, something that just gets to you a bit downer. And I know because it's happened to me for years. I used to be worried about it. Now I just recognize it, and I have ways to deal with it and mitigate it. One of them's talking about it. But it is just a fact of life that in the middle of winter, it's gray and dark. I struggle, and I think more people struggle whether they realize it or not. I mean, it took me until I was in my 30s to realize what was going on. But there you have it. And I talk to people about it. I have my little things, my little workouts, one of those lamps. And usually, actually, what I try to do is we try to go on holidays just to find a place where the sun doesn't have to be warm. It just needs to be sunny. And if we have that, then we can work through the gloom and doom of winter. So that's behind me. So I feel like I'm in a good place. Spiritually, well, not something I pay attention to that much, but I assume it's all right. I have that category there. Also for people I speak with who are maybe religious or put an emphasis on spirituality more than I do, to be able to chat about what that means and how that can affect and influence health, and of course financial health. Friends, if you're struggling financially, living paycheck to paycheck, worrying about whether or not you can buy food and make rent, then all this talk about sleep and nutrition and exercise is not going to be very helpful. And I think we sometimes forget. Trying to dry run the deadlift here. How much impact financial stability has on our life and our ability to live. So, if you are financially stable, I talk more about what that means in the third quadrant of my reflection. You go ahead and you can see where you stand in terms of sleep, nutrition, and exercise. But if your life circumstances dictate that every day is a struggle for you to actually make ends meet, well then, we have to look at your life circumstances. What skills do you have? Where are you living? What are the opportunities there in relation to your skills? What means do you have of changing that equation, if any, to further yourself and advance your station and position? And bit by bit, you might be able to build something that is going to be a solid foundation for you to get out of your plight. And then some of the other things I'm saying will become more relevant. I'm not saying health is not important. fitness is not important. I'm not saying sleep and exercise and nutrition aren't important at any stage or in any circumstances. What I'm saying is that your life circumstances might not allow you to focus on them to the extent you want to. And then one of the hardest things to do, but believe me, I've been there, I've done it, is to make a hard left turn and focus on building that foundation, right? So just keep that in mind. And I know you will. I know you're paying attention. I just want to point that out. Alright, so we've looked at physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, financial health. Financial health basically is a regular stream of income that I rely on, that I'm not worried about, and do I have enough money in the bank for some unexpected expenses? And a minute of rest. Do some more halos. I'll do another set. Deadlifts. We're just doing some light training this morning. Strength, just challenging the muscles. We still have that run ahead of us, and it is 6:17 a.m. Hi. I cannot pronounce your name, but thank you for dropping by, saying hello. I hope you're doing well this morning, where you're at. So, from reflecting on health, let's go on and look at relationships, right? Because we've established we're healthy, or we have some points of improvement maybe around our health. Let's talk about our relationships next, because relationships are life, whether we believe it or not. They are the networks that we're a part of, the family, friends, communities, clubs, society, that actually make up a large part of our daily life, who we are, and our identities. So, what does that mean? Well, let's start with the people we love and care about, right? So let's think about them for a moment. Have we seen them regularly in the last 7 days? Have we spent time with them outside of the routines and the musts? Like, have we invested in each other from a point of interest? and each other's well-being and needs. And if the answer is yes, that's good. That's a bonus. If the answer is no, then is that because the people you love and care about aren't close by, because you don't have them, or because something else is getting in the way of that? Whatever that is, it's probably something worth looking at, because there's no point in being physically healthy and fit and going to live to be 100 in good health if you've nobody to share that experience with, whether that's a friend or a life partner or a husband or a wife or children or anything else. That's lonely. And we do better in groups and with people. All right? So just keep that in mind. Then, friends. Be checked in with your friends. Who was the last friend you saw? Which was the last friend that you actually had a conversation with? When are you going to see all of your friends again in life? What is the moment that you have to look forward to connecting with your friends? And this is important for different reasons. But it is important to have a network of friends and people you can connect with and relax with and have conversations with, share ideas with, because that's what keeps us healthy and sane. So your friends and friendships matter, and they're important. And this week for me was a good week with friends. Went to see some at the end of last week. Checked in with at least 3 of them over the phone. So it was a good week for connection. I'm seeing quite a lot of them coming Sunday again. So, the friendship department, I think we're doing all right. And we get to communities that we're part of. I think we sometimes forget that we live in a place, there are a lot of people around us who we don't necessarily know very well, but whom we do probably need to have an interest in. So, connecting with my neighbors. Are there any clubs or societies that I'm a part of and a big community that you're a part of, you spend more time with these people than you probably spend with your family, is work. I think it's important for us to remember and realize that there's a certain culture at work and a certain sense of community. And now, mind you, colleagues are not your friends. You may find some friendship there. Colleagues are colleagues. People you work with, people on the payroll. And everybody, in their own way, is trying to do what's best for them and in life. We need to be honest about that and fair about that, right? But at the same time, when we spend so much time with people, we want to, in a way, yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to do some rows and some push-ups. When we spend so much time with people, we want to be sure to have a vested interest in the well-being of that community. Because when push comes to shove, that community of people, right, is going to be important to us in terms of the business and the team and the office and the region and the company or the organization being successful. And if things are working as intended, then that's success. Will also be beneficial to us. We got about 10 more minutes of work ahead of us here. I'd be doing 5 push-ups and then 10 gorilla rows and 5 push-ups, 10 gorilla rows, and that's going to be the end of the program this morning. Then I'm going to put on some running clothes. I'm going to go out for a little run. All right. So here we are. On to the next. Brawl Stars Noah. Hi. Hello. Thanks for dropping by, for saying hello. And I hope you're doing well where you are in the world. So we were reflecting on friendships, communities, right? Talking about the importance of at least being a part of or understanding the dynamics of that community. That is your office, because work is a big chunk of life. All right. So we reflected on that, and who knows, you might decide this week there are a couple of friends that you want to reach out to because you haven't been in touch for a while. I think that's going to be completely fine to do, and to have that as a goal for the week, to invest in those relationships and friendships And we need to look at so we've done health, relationships, we're going to look at the opportunities we have now. Friends, you need to find better friends, because friends lift each other up and help each other out. And sure, we can snark at each other, but usually there's a hint of insight in the sarcasm. And it's not constant, because I know I benefit if my friends benefit. If I do well, my friends do well. If my friends do well, I do well. And I'm sorry to hear that. But if you're aware and able to talk about it, then perhaps you're going to be able to do something about it. And if they really are friends, and you tell them that you'd appreciate them to stop, they'd likely take you serious. But it's hard, I think, for men and boys to actually make real friends, especially today. I can count my friends, my real friends, on two hands, on the fingers of my two hands. And those are the people that I will turn to and talk to for life. And it took me 27 years to build up that friend group. And it's become harder and harder to add to that. I don't remember me. I don't know if you've been on the channel before. Your handle doesn't ring a bell. But like I said, I hope you're well. And maybe you want to tell me what's going on, or how you're doing in life. Third one, we're going to go on to the fourth one. So let's talk about the opportunities we have. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And it's good to see you here again. So we're talking about life, about the opportunities, which is the third quadrant for a check-in during the week, during the month. And the opportunity I break down into three things. That is making money every day to foresee my daily, weekly expenses. There's saving, which is the ability to, from that money that is earned, putting money aside for expenses throughout the year that are not immediate, but that are sizable, so we don't get caught unawares. And then there is investments in the future. That could be your pension funds or anything else that you're looking towards. And we talked about financial health and well-being already when it came to health. And I think we sometimes underestimate the tremendous impact good financial health and hygiene can have on the rest of our lives. But it starts with income. Whether you have a job or you do something else, and you're working towards building that steady stream of money that we need to foresee in our daily needs. It's the number one priority here. And mind you, I'm not a financial advisor, just talking about my own experience. The more stable that is, the more predictable, the less stress we have about money and finances in our life. All right. So then from there, we go on to how do we establish that stream of income? Where does it come from? What drives it? And specifically the balance between the income and the output, right? If you live in a very high cost of living area, all right, and you are going to try to balance your income with the cost of living there, you are going to be disappointed, because unless you're making more than you absolutely need to be able to live a normal life there, that means a comfortable home, food, being able to put money aside for bigger expenses, save up for a trip or two, and basically be able to set aside money for your future. You are living beyond your means. And we tend to forget this in life, right? Hey, that was 57 minutes of activity. That's a pretty good morning so far, I say, friends. So let's just finish up this one. Right. So, high cost of living area, a job that isn't competitive, or you have the skills but there are no jobs related to your skills in the area, then it's a choice to either live there or to find a different place. Same as you can have a talent hub where the kind of work you're able to do is valued, but the cost of living is high, so you need to integrate a decent commute to find an area where you can live, where the price isn't too high. And I know there's all this talk about giving up on social life, whatever. I think if you have a 20 to 30% margin between your income and your expenses, once in a while you're able to invest in your social life while investing in everything else for your future, rather than if you have a negative 10% margin on your income versus your expenses. You might have a great social life, but 4, 5, 6 years down the line, it's going to come back to haunt you. It's trying to find ways to balance that, all right? Then from that difference, obviously you get into savings and investments, but that's a different topic altogether. Friends, that's it, the end of today. I'm going to get changed for a run in 3 degrees Celsius, which is going to be fun. Remember, this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I am 40 years old and I want to feel fit, competent, and capable for what life is going to throw at me. I do that by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, showing up for strength, conditioning, and mobility training 30 minutes a day. Today was a bit of a longer session, but we were having a fun conversation. I hope, at least I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you're interested in what I'm doing, you go ahead and subscribe. Share my channel with a friend. Hit like on videos you see. Leave a comment once in a while. Let me know how you're doing. All right? Remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. It's the person we are today who's going to get us to where we want to be in the future. And there are enough people out there who want to put us down. So let's figure out ways to lift ourselves up. All right, friends. Just going to check the messages. And then one more message for you. Thanks. I appreciate that. Hey, that's amazing. I had no idea, but pop around in the chat more often. And I'm glad that you find the videos helpful and useful and worthwhile coming back to. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you dropping by this morning and letting me know and telling me that. Made my day, right? And like I always say, first of all, Brawl Stars Noah, be well, stay well. Diabolic Native and someone whose name I can't pronounce, also thanks for dropping by and saying hi. And remember, friends, the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I will see you tomorrow. Take care.